Hi, Jerry Corley here, standupcomedyclinic.com with a special episode of Ask the Joke Doctor. In this episode, we have a download for you. It's going to be a PDF download discussing joke writing. So be sure to check the description box down below to get that PDF cheat sheet that'll really help you, I think, learn a lot as far as comedy writing. Hi, Jerry Corley here, standupcomedyclinic.com with a special episode of Ask the Joke Doctor. In this episode, I'm actually going to be replying to a comment I got on YouTube regarding a video I did, a writing video, how to write jokes. And those of you who have seen this before, you know I use one of the techniques I use is the listing technique. That's where I take two dissimilar ideas that are in the setup. Like, for example, if you had something, a new study shows that Lego has replaced Ferrari as the world's most popular brand. Now, in the setup, if there are two or more clearly identifiable converging ideas, you just start listing everything Ferrari in this case and everything Lego. And you can come up with jokes that way. Now, after the video, the guy left a comment and he said, nobody uses this technique to write jokes or to write comedy. And I replied, what is your experience in this field? It must run deep, since you implied you know everybody in comedy, since you said that nobody uses it. The guy replied back and he said, oh, I'm sorry, Jerry. I didn't know you even read these things. So what's that say about his character, right? It's like, hey, while you're not looking, I'll talk shit about you. So anyway, that's what happened. And I just want to show you who uses this technique. In fact, I'll go as far as to say every successful comedian uses this technique, whether they know it or not. And I say whether they know it or not because a lot of them don't even know what it's called. They just do it. They've learned from other comics, from observation, and they've applied the same things in their stand-up, and that's how they all of a sudden the audience is laughing, so they keep that technique, that pattern. That's how they've learned comedy. Comedy is learned through exposure and experience. Don't let anybody tell you you either got it or you don't. Not true. That's a fallacy. It's a wives' tale. It's bullshit. So anybody can learn this. This is a skill set. It's like painting. Red and blue make purple. Without red and blue, you can't make purple. So when you learn what triggers human laughter, in this case, incongruity, which creates recognition and coincidence, that's what triggers the laugh. The coincidence. Oh my God, I never thought about it that way. That's so true. So if I said something like, Lego has replaced Ferrari as the world's most popular brand. And I go, Lego has replaced Ferrari as the world's most popular brand? Yeah, right. Yeah, just try fucking a supermodel after showing her your Legos. The particular comedian I'm going to show you right now who uses this technique, it's a fairly popular guy. Maybe you've heard of him. His name is Chris Rock. Let's take a look at Chris Rock using the technique. I'm going to show you the setup of this particular bit that Chris Rock does. And then we're going to look at the list and see what the possibilities are. So here's Chris Rock.
What I got a problem with is the stripper myth. You know the stripper myth. This is stripper myth that's being perpetuated throughout society. The stripper myth is, I'm stripping to pay my tuition.
So you see what he did there? The setup. I'm stripping to pay my tuition. So right there, you have two dissimilar ideas converging. And those ideas would be stripper and college. So let's take a look at if we actually use the technique and see if we can take this technique and find some jokes using the technique. So here's the idea is strippers going to college. And so you would take the stripper and write everything you can think about dealing with stripper. And using the subcategories of people, places, things, words, phrases, cliches, events. Don't forget opposites, very important. And then you have college. Again, using the subcategories to remind yourself. And by the way, I do this every time I do a listening technique. I will write down, just like you see here, the subcategories to remind myself. Oh, what about cliches? What are some of the things that people say? What are some of the phrases? Who else is in there? Is there a celebrity involved? So I don't forget. What places could this be taking place? That all hits in storytelling all of the who, what, where, why, when, and how. Does that make sense? So if we take strippers in college and we look at some of the lists. So we have $1 bills, transparent heels, and you'll see why I highlighted this in a moment. But this is just a list based on the setup, not thinking about anything funny. Just writing down everything you can think about dealing with each of those elements. Do not try to be funny here. It's so important. Comedy is in the simplicity of the coincidence that these two dissimilar ideas actually fit together. And now we're going to show the audience in an imaginary way what it would be like if a stripper was at college. Got it? Because our perception, and I'm sure tons of strippers have gone to college, this is not a play against strippers for me. And I'm very fond of strippers. Not in that way. I mean, I don't go to strip clubs and go, oh my God, these chicks. I think a stripper is the same way I think of comedians. They're entertainers. So if we look at stripper and you just take everything you can think about dealing with stripper. And you can see here I have ATM. You got to go to the ATM to get cash, make it rain. Those of you who don't know what making it rain is, it's throwing dollar bills in the air. Sort of, you've seen people do this maybe. So VIP, lap dance, bouncer. Then I had names of strippers in my mind. Candy, Cherry, Mercedes, Charity. Charity right there is a joke possibility right there. Charity could be a person or could be an organization. So we can have fun with that possibility. Anatomy, that would be any stripper. That would probably be her major, right? Psychology, what would a stripper in psychology study? Daddy issues. Dance, pole, $100 for 15 minutes, thongs, G-string, sexy lingerie, teddy, topless, full nude, expensive drinks, buy the stripper a drink, 2 drink minimum, cover charge, pole dance, lots of singles. $1 bills, smart, bachelor's, motorboat, hand cap a thigh, and I would, if I was going to do this for, like it's a sorority, hand cap a thigh, or want to touch a thigh, it would be probably THI. It looks more Greek. DJ, gentlemen, get out your dollars, gentlemen's club, spearmint ride nipples, nice ass. That's some Title IX ass right there. So let's take a look once we have this little list and see how effective it is when Chris Rock does this bit. We're going to start the bit again from the beginning, and there's a reason why we do this. Is like when you're pitching anything, you always, always, always go back to the setup because the audience otherwise can't connect the ideas instantly, readily. They need time to think about it, and they don't need that time. Comedy is in real time. It's happening now. So let's take a look at Chris Rock.
The stripper myth is, I'm stripping to pay my tuition. No, you're not. There's no strippers in college. There's no clear heels in biology. Shit, man. I didn't know they had a college that only took $1 bills. And if they got so many strippers in college, how come I never got a smart lap dance? I never got a girl that sat on my lap and said, if I was you, I would diversify my portfolio. Ever since the end of the Cold War, I find NATO obsolete.
See what Chris Rock did? He basically, in his head probably, I don't know, I'm not there in the room when Chris Rock is developing his material, but you could see the lists. There ain't no strippers in college. There ain't no clear heels. We had transparent heels right there on the list. There ain't no, I didn't know any colleges that just take $1 bills. That's also on the list. And then I love when he goes, there's so many strippers going to college, how come I never got a smart lap dance? What a brilliant way to take this concept. What would a smart lap dance be like? And then he just acts it out. Now I want you to listen very carefully to that line. if all these strippers are going to college, how come I never got a smart lap dance? Can you feel the momentum of that joke just begging for him to show us, the audience, what that would be like? What would that a smart lap dance be like? How come I never got a smart lap dance? And now he's going to do a smart lap dance. And he just does it. He's like, I really think you should diversify your portfolio. And I want you also to pay attention to the way he did that. He said, is he doing anything way over the top as far as being a stripper? Or as an act out, is Chris just trying to stay authentic to how a stripper might act in front of a customer? Just doing straight, shaking her booty in front of the customer, and then he's just saying the words. I really think you should diversify your portfolio. He's not doing anything over the top to act any extra like a stripper. He's not like putting his finger in his mouth and trying to be all sexy and anything like that. He's staying authentic to the stripper. That is the key of doing an act out. That's how an act out works, is you stay authentic to the goal of that stripper. The only thing the stripper doing is stripping. As my dad used to say, what is the little match girl doing? She's selling matches. That's all she's doing. Don't try to overact or make faces or do anything, crazy or different. Stay authentic to the character you're playing and to the destination, your goal as the character. Does that make sense? So many people try to overdo it with an act out that they kill the joke. Don't kill the joke. Just keep it authentic. That's the key. And then she's like, I think after the Cold War, NATO has become obsolete. Great line for a smart lap dance. So you got to see how this works, very simply. So to the guy that says nobody's using this, somebody is, Chris Rock. Now, if Chris Rock actually listed, and you can see my lists, and these lists, by the way, go deep. Things like at least 20 per column, right? And by the way, I just want to let you know, this document that you're looking at right now on the screen, this document I have available as a PDF download. So those of you who are really interested in writing comedy, download it, grab it. You just click that link, and I'll send it right to your email so that you have it, so you can research it, you can utilize it, you can take that list and add more to it, to the stripper side, because you see the stripper side is kind of weak compared to the college side, if you know some more phrases that I don't know in the stripper environment. So you can download this PDF, print it out, have it in front of you, practice yourself writing some of these stripper jokes and see how many you could come up with that technique. So be sure to check the description box below. Click that link and I'll send it right to your email. And then that way you'll have it, so to help you write. So let's take a look at some of the other jokes that came to me after I fleshed out this list. Now, keep in mind, not all the jokes are winners. I don't just put jokes on the page when I show these exercises that crush. I put jokes on the page that win and not win. The crap is here as well, because I don't want you guys to think that everything that comes out of your head is going to be a winner. John Voorhouse said that, there's a rule of 9. He wrote a book called The Comic Toolbox. The rule of 9 is, hey, out of 10 jokes, 9 are going to suck. Get over it. I don't believe that necessarily. I think if you know what triggers human laughter and you have your structures, you're more like 6 to 7 out of 10 are good. Also keep in mind that when you have in this list that we're going to read of these jokes that came out of the listing technique, when you have a really good joke and then it's followed by a joke that's not as good, we automatically roll our eyes because the other one's not as good. But if you put yourself in the position of having an audience hear it for the first time, you'll see that it's not that bad, that it will get a chuckle. I'm pretty sure that most every joke that I talk about here on this page will get a chuckle from an audience if I did them independently of one another. Does that make sense? So a lot of times we have prejudgments. We'll hear a great joke, then we hear a mediocre joke, and we automatically discount the mediocre joke. But it's not necessarily a bad joke. So let's take a look. After we make that list of strippers, I'm thinking right away, my mind says, what would be the mascot, right? You see that little thing, mascot? What would be the mascot of this of a stripper, of a college the stripper went to. I'm thinking Trojans. Just off the top of my head, maybe you have something different that came to your head. But let's take a look. When it was time to turn her tassel, it was announced by a DJ. The dean was just the name of a regular customer. There should be a rule that if you meet a stripper who's in college, you shouldn't just get a lap dance. You should get a full ride. Of course, implying full ride scholarship. I could tell that the stripper went to college because when she went to show her titties, they put her name up using highlighter. Sorry. That one just popped out of my head and just made me laugh. I don't know why. Highlighter is just funny. Or me saying the word titties is silly. At graduation, she didn't just turn her tassels. She spun them. You could do that. The little act out like they would be, My boyfriend studied political science. I just studied pole science. Where'd she graduate from? Norfolk U? She was a proud graduate of Twerk University. Universities are not usually partisan, but you know how the Democrats' mascot is a donkey? Twerk University is all about the ass. Doing a commencement speech, what would that sound like? Hello, class of $100 for 15 minutes. She graduated at the top of her pole. Stripper. Now you can see, anytime you do the listening technique, there's always potential for dialogue. Think about it this way. Great for guys who are ventriloquists, great for magicians, great for writing dialogue and scripts. How do you think they do it for scripts for sitcoms? Because one person delivers the setup, the next person delivers the punchline. So this technique is gold when you're writing scripts and you're writing funny dialogue. So stripper, I graduated college, I have a bachelor's, and the guy's like, yeah, what was your focus? And it's bachelor's. And I don't mean to make the strippers an airhead, but in this case, the stripper is. They don't throw their caps in the air, they just make it rain. Act out looking at a hot stripper. Now that's some Title IX ass right there. That's what I call an associated student body. I think I'm going to get a VIP from an ASB. So there's a little joke there. Strippers in college, that's where everyone graduates magna cum loudly. A typical graduation ceremony would have they'd be playing Pomp and Circumstance. A stripper graduation ceremony, maybe they're playing Pomp and Circumcision. Graduation ceremony has a 2-drink minimum. She got her degree in psychology. Yeah, advanced daddy issues. So there's another joke, right? I belong to a sorority, want to touch a thigh. Again, I would probably make sure that thigh is THI. I don't know about what kind of stripper, what kind of GPA she had, but I know she got A's in anatomy. Good joke. Think about it. If you meet a stripper who's stripping to pay for college, then, I like this joke. Think about it. If you meet a stripper who's, I go to strip clubs, right? It's like, and the way I think about it is like, I love to get dances from strippers who are going to college. Then I'm not just some old pervert paying for a lap dance. I'm contributing to her college fund. I'm a philanthropist. You see, that could be a fun joke right there. Really put it on yourself. And what's the difference between a regular stripper and a stripper in college? The stripper in college has her eyes on the bachelors. Now, that's a different way of doing the bachelor's joke where she is doing the act out and then you're making more third person that way to the audience. So there you have it. I like to think of a premise like a wet towel, and I want to wring it out for everything I can get out of that premise. And the way to do that is to actually physically list the elements and the subcategories of everything dealing with the two elements that are converging. And I know it's a lot to swirl around in your head right now, but the chart that we have right at the top here kind of lets you see what's going on with that, right? Once you can organize it, and while you're doing the lists, you just put them down on the page, you can come up with so many more jokes. So there you go. Skeptic. And again, I have a respect for the skeptics because skeptics are told you can't learn this. You either got it or you don't. But that's not true. You can learn it. And we're proving it right now. And so Chris Rock, that's how you write like Chris Rock. That's one of the ways Chris Rock writes, by the way. He also uses multiple techniques. This is not just his only go-to. So he's a pretty well-versed comic. So that incongruity technique, by the way, if you just use this by itself, you could wind up that could be your only technique you use to write jokes, and you can write jokes forever. So it's a powerful, powerful technique. And yes, people do use it. I hope this brought value to your day. Remember, down in the description box is a link so you can download this as a PDF and have it right in your email. Download it, print it up on your printer. That way you can have it there and you can workshop your own joke using this technique and get some really good practice in. And maybe rephrase the setup and have your own kind of stripper college jokes. So that's it in a nutshell. I hope this brought value to your day, and I hope it inspired you to write some more stuff. Don't forget to subscribe, share, follow, all of that stuff. I do this because I love comedy, and I love helping people learn how to write, and this is a fascinating art form and a fascinating business, and if I can help you get to where you need to be, that's why I do these things on YouTube. So remember to subscribe and hit that bell if you want notifications sent to you when we put new videos up. Who's we? It's just me putting up videos. Anyway, I'll wrap it up with that. Don't forget, download the PDF, and I will talk to you guys real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.